So I was on Google and I was checking out this article, and I'm gonna put the article link in the comment section. You guys can read it for yourself. And the author is basically talking about Skip Bayless and his predictable fall at of over there at the show Undisputed. Now, Undisputed was supposed to be this rival to ESPN's First Take. It was supposed to be the First Take. It was labeled the First Take Killer. I think it was like 8 years ago. It started with Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe, and Joy Taylor. And this three-headed monster was supposed to give competition to First Take. And at that time, ESPN First Take had Marley, Stephen A. Smith, and Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman was supposed to be the replacement for Skip Bayless. And I remember doing a video on this like 8-9 years ago. And I said, don't be shocked if Max Kellerman was going to replace Skip Bayless. He was the most likable person, the likable, he was rising up. I thought either him or Jalen Rose, and at that time I thought Marcellus Wiley, but I always thought Max Kellerman was going to take that position, because you have to understand, Stephen A. Smith worked better when he's debating alongside someone that either he respects or that person fears him, that's going to take a back seat. And Max Kellerman respects Stephen A. I think Stephen A. Smith underestimated Max Kellerman. Max Kellerman was going to give him a show. He was going to debate him. He was going to respect him, but he was not going to bow down in the presence of Stephen A. Smith. And Stephen A. Smith, it gotten so bad over there at First Take with Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith went to upper management saying either he goes or I go, and they're gonna choose Max Kellerman. All right, but that's First Take situation. Back to Undisputed and Skip Bayless, Shannon Sharpe, and Joy Taylor. I thought this tandem was an elite tandem. I thought this tandem was a better tandem than the First Take tandem, the original First Take tandem with Max Kellerman, Molly, and Stephen A. Smith. I thought this was a fresher face wise. It was a better tandem. You had Skip Bayless, the guy that you love to hate. You had Shannon Sharpe, who was very informative, entertaining. He was a three-headed monster, all right? And you had Joy Taylor. And I thought that tandem was going to be better. And truth be known, if Undisputed was on ESPN, I thought their ratings would be a lot better, because ESPN at that particular time was in more households than Fox Sports 1. Before Undisputed, Fox Sports 1 was the place to go where you want to see sumo wrestling at 2 o'clock in the morning, or if you want to see the rodeo show 8 o'clock in the morning. All right, it wasn't nothing much there at Fox Sports 1. It was mainly the hub for college football over the weekend. It was always the college football games no one cared to watch anyway. But I felt like if Undisputed was on ESPN, it would have better ratings. It would be in more households, and it would totally change the dynamic of how we look at ESPN today. But I'll talk about that a little bit later in the video. So they were supposed to be the First Take killers. Didn't turn out that way because, like I said, Fox Sports 1 as a network wasn't a bigger conglomerate like ESPN. They were not in more households like ESPN. ESPN had the majority of the better deals with the NFL. the NBA, the NHL, Major League Baseball. The list goes on and on and on. Everybody wants to be on ESPN. Hardly nobody wants to be on Fox Sports 1. Now, Fox Sports had the Sunday football package with Terry Bradshaw and those guys over there. But other than that, Fox Sports 1 and wasn't that hub yet. Now, they also added and pulled a lot of other personalities over at ESPN. They got Rob Parker, who was let go of at ESPN. They had Jason Whitlock. They had Colin Cowherd. They had Chris Broussard. They had a lot of people that left ESPN to go to Fox Sports 1. And as a whole, Fox Sports 1 is a solid network. But when you compare it to ESPN, even then to now, ESPN is still the dominant network. All right. And when they had, the ratings were good. They were solid when they had Shannon Sharpe and Skip Bayless and I'm about to say Molly, Joy Taylor. The ratings were good. They were solid, but they were not on the same level as First Take. And they had their ups and downs. I thought the chemistry was a lot better on Undisputed than it was over at First Take. Until a lot of things came to the forefront. Shannon Sharpe wanted more say-so on the topics. He wanted more control, or more veto power on the show of who gets hired and who lets go. Shannon Sharpe was kind of playing, politics behind the scenes while, gravitating everyone on his side. The moderator, Joy Taylor, at that point, everyone in the studio, the editors, the research team, the cameramen, the makeup artist. Shannon Sharpe was, low key, getting everyone on his side. And at that time, Skip Bayless didn't care. All Skip Bayless cared about was, the show itself and how to make the show entertaining and, those metrics. I think Skip Bayless underestimated Shannon Sharpe as a person like that. And when Skip Bayless found out, and slowly but surely put two and two together, that's when you had Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. Every once in a while, even though it views on the show as far as ratings go, that's why their relationship was up and down. At first, in the beginning, it was fine. The chemistry was perfect and everything. They had a routine going on. I thought, they prepped for the show. Come to find out, Skip Bayless was prepping it old school like he did with Stephen A. Smith. And then Shannon Sharpe comes in later on in the day with no prep, have no idea which way Skip Bayless was going. But Skip Bayless was kind of predictable. So it wasn't like Shannon Sharpe had to, lock in earlier in the morning to see which way Skip Bayless was going. A lot of the things that they were debating about, it was things Skip Bayless wanted to debate about, which was the Dallas Cowboys, which was Tom Brady, and bashing LeBron James. In the beginning, Shannon Sharpe, was dealing with it, but Shannon Sharpe was thinking, hey, can we talk about other topics? Now, it was one point in the show, and it was live. Shannon Sharpe brought that up, and Skip Bayless said, you're welcome to talk about whatever you want to talk about. You just have to come in and in the prep and let us know. Okay? So right then and there, the chemistry started to deteriorate. Their relationship started to dissolve, and the respect factor was not there. And it was slowly but surely, deteriorating and it to the point where they probably couldn't do the show together. Now, another thing that hurt their relationship and ultimately Shannon Sharpe went his separate ways was, Skip Bayless got 2 great contracts with Fox Sports 1. And at those 2 points, Skip Bayless could have easily put in a good word for Shannon Sharpe to get him a max contract, but chose not to. Skip Bayless said, hey, I'm going to get mine. You're going to have to figure out a way to get yours. And I think that bothered Shannon Sharpe. Shannon Sharpe thought that he would go to bat with him as far as negotiations go. But I don't know if Skip Bayless, I really think Skip Bayless knew this. Shannon Sharpe probably didn't know this till the end. Fox Sports 1 is not this major conglomerate that's going to just max everybody out. ESPN been there and done that. And that's why they had so many layoffs, because they were just maxing everybody out. And at the end of the day, they still probably would have continued to do Undisputed. But to max both of them out and getting the ratings that you're getting, and you're still not beating First Take, it's not a good look. It didn't make dollars. It wouldn't have made dollars, and it definitely would not make sense. Would have made better sense is to max them both out and have Shannon Sharpe do his own show. That would have made sense. But another factor in their demise was Shannon Sharpe wasn't the favorite with upper management. Upper management chose Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless was the bigger star at Fox Sports 1 than Shannon Sharpe. Now, Shannon Sharpe made a name for himself with Club Shay Shay on social media, but I just don't think Fox, the executives over there were looking at those metrics. They were looking at, okay, it has to make business sense for both of them to coexist on one show. Plus, they couldn't give Shannon Sharpe influence and control of the show when they already given it to Skip Bayless. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say Skip Bayless is the reason why Shannon Sharpe is not there. And I still maintain this. I think it was a money issue than a personality issue. I think if the money wasn't a problem, I think they're both adult and professional enough to still do the show if everything was in line. If they would have maxed out Shannon Sharpe, still maxed out Skip Bayless, maybe go to Skip Bayless and say, hey, let's give him something as far as the show go. Okay? Or if you're not willing to do that, maybe we should just allow him to have his own show. So, when Shannon Sharpe left, Fox Sports 1 and Skip Bayless, Fox Sports 1 was saying, okay, so what? We don't have Shannon Sharpe. We still got the bigger star in Skip Bayless. And all we have to do is just package him in with a lot of other personalities. And I feel like Fox Sports 1 made another horrified mistake by underestimating how popular Shannon Sharpe was and thinking that you could just replace him with any Tom, Dick, and Harry, but also allowing Skip Bayless to handpick who he wanted on his show. I felt like Fox Sports 1 is the culprit, the leading culprit of the demise of Undisputed. They started with Michael Irvin. I think Michael Irvin was a decent, a solid pick, particularly when you talk about Dallas Cowboys. You plug him in with Skip Bayless with somebody else, and that would be some good entertaining TV for like 10 or 15 minutes. I think Richard Sherman Was solid with the X's and O's, but his personality, he was not very entertaining. He was not very popular, and even though he knew his X's and O's with the NFL, he was more of a fan with the other sports, So with the NBA. So with Shannon Sharpe, he was a student of the game. He was great with the X's and O's with the NFL, but he was also great in the National Basketball Association. And that's what they were missing when they got Richard Sherman. But still, I even said that was a decent hire. Okay? And then Keyshawn Johnson. I think Keyshawn Johnson should have been the moderator, where he just kicks the topics and occasionally, speak his mind, say his piece. I think Keyshawn Johnson is decent, but Keyshawn Johnson is too much of an athlete apologist. Like, he's just like another JJ Redick. Except JJ Redick is a little bit more popular, a little bit more entertaining than Keyshawn Johnson. All right? And at the end of the day, when you think about it, you're getting ESPN's leftovers. ESPN didn't want a deal with Keyshawn Johnson. Okay? Now, out of the three, Keyshawn Johnson, they got the most out of Keyshawn Johnson than the other two. They got Keyshawn Johnson on college football at Fox Sports 1. Keyshawn Johnson does segments for Undisputed. I think he has his own podcast, or he's another host of a podcast. So you're double dipping with Keyshawn Johnson. Michael Irvin, yeah. I mean, when football season starts, you got him for Dallas Cowboy Talk plus the National Football League. I just did a video where the NFL Network is canceling a lot of shows on that channel, on that network, as well as letting go of Michael Irvin. Okay? I feel like, Michael Irvin, and I said in that video, I think Michael Irvin will be all right, because Michael Irvin makes his money outside of the NFL Network and Fox Sports 1. He makes money for the Dallas Cowboys. I'm pretty sure he probably will go back into radio and do local radio and get a bag there. Plus do Undisputed. It was one point he was trying to get on at ESPN, but with that accusation that gave ESPN an out to let him go there. Okay, when he was doing First Take. I thought that would have been a good gig for him. Look, Undisputed is a good gig for him, but where Undisputed is now, who knows? The future is very cloudy over at Undisputed, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But yeah, when you look at all the decisions that they made this year, it was average at best decisions. It didn't move the needle. And they still needed a personality that people would want to come and see. And they had that personality with Shannon Sharpe. And I think Fox Sports 1 underestimated, didn't check the temperature in the room, and let go of Shannon Sharpe, and didn't realize the magnitude Shannon Sharpe presented for Undisputed and Fox Sports 1. So now they're trying to find that person, and there's only one Shannon Sharpe. And I'm sorry, it doesn't matter if you have 8 people or one person, they're not going to replace Shannon Sharpe. All right? Now, they tried with Paul Pierce, and I was a huge component of, you have a football team. When football season is over with, you have a basketball team. And that team is going to be different from your football team. And one of the decisions I thought would be part of the basketball team is Paul Pierce. But I was a huge component. You can check out my videos. They should have went for Jalen Rose. And I gave you guys my reasons of Jalen Rose. And I know Jalen Rose and Skip Bayless is not on the best in the best situation. But I think they are professional enough where they could coexist and work together. And with Jalen Rose, you're going to get pushback, particularly when Skip Bayless say something outrageous. Jalen Rose is going to push back on it. Now, if you can't get Jalen Rose, then get Paul Pierce. Okay? They thought Paul Pierce was going to move the needle, and he's not. They need... There's two things hurting Undisputed. Well, three things. First, the bad press. And I think they are out. They're sort of out from under the bad press of how Shannon Sharpe left that show. I think less people are talking about that. Another thing that's hurting the show is they need a big-time personality. Someone that's going to attract viewers there. And the third thing that's hurting this show is they need eye candy. Your moderator has to be eye candy. I know that there's going to be women that's going to listen to this video and go, that is, I mean, look, Molly, despite what people think, is eye candy. Now, she's very informational, entertaining, but let's just be realistic. When a lot of guys see Molly, they're not concerned about what Molly is saying. They're just wondering what Molly is wearing. When Joy Taylor was with Undisputed, that's what people were talking about. You need eye candy for the younger viewers, to attract the younger viewers to come over there to Undisputed. The younger viewers are not going there to see an old Skip Bayless. All right? They're either going to be, younger viewers are going to come in, they're going to click your channel either for eye candy or entertainment or someone being very funny and being very entertaining. All right? There's not a lot of guys that's got that triple threat, minus the eye candy. Now, I thought of Charles Barkley. Now, here's why I think Charles Barkley. And I know Charles Barkley is never going to work alongside Skip Bayless. You have to understand, Turner Sports they got an uncertain future, particularly with the NBA, with having NBA games. But inside the NBA can exist without having NBA games on TNT, on Turner Sports. People watch inside the NBA more than the actual games. All right? Now, I know there's no way, no how, Charles Barkley, but you need a personality like that. Okay? So, there's not a lot of people out there like that. Shannon Sharpe he's not going anywhere at ESPN. Charles Barkley's not going anywhere with Turner Sports. It's just not a lot of guys out there that's an easy, quick fix for them. So that's why they're, taking these chances on a Paul Pierce, on a Keyshawn Johnson, on a Richard Sherman, on a Michael Irvin. But these guys are not in the elite, in that elite group that is must-see TV. Occasionally, they'll say something that would get people to watch, but not all the time. But there's not a lot of guys out there like that. Now, Nick Wright will be an excellent person to debate Skip Bayless, because they're both one and the same. I think Nick Wright say some outrageous things and go left occasionally with his perspective. just like Skip Bayless. And I think with both of them together in the same studio, that will make electrifying TV. I will say, now Nick Wright and Skip Bayless, they don't see eye to eye, but when you're in Skip Bayless' predicament, I mean, you don't really have a lot of options if you want to keep this show healthy. Now, at the end of the day, I don't think Undisputed is going anywhere. I think they will give it 1, maybe 2 years before they start talking about pulling the plug. And that's plenty of time for Undisputed to find its way, back to the viewers. And like I said, there are so many up and coming, they need a moderator. And there are so many moderators out there that can get the younger crowd to, because sex sells. But it's not going to keep the viewers there. But I feel like you need a big time personality and a moderator. I think you'll strike out of the two. I think you're going to get the moderator right. And the only reason why I don't think you're going to get a big time personality because all the big time personalities are lock, stock, and barrel. They're not going anywhere. Those networks are taking care of those big time personalities, those mega stars. You're not getting Stephen A. Smith, not anytime soon. You're not getting Shannon Sharpe, and Shannon Sharpe wouldn't want to go there anyway. You're not getting Charles Barkley. You're not getting a Shaquille O'Neal. Okay? Tom Brady has a name, but Tom Brady hasn't done media. So there's an unknown circumstance there. All right? You need a big time personality because you already got someone that they hate in Skip Bayless. You need someone that's a big time personality that's popular. And I don't think you're going to find it anytime soon. So out of the two things that I mentioned, you're probably going to hit it with the moderator right before the personality. I still think Richard Sherman is not it. And with his legal troubles, that's an out for Fox Sports 1 to let him go because he wasn't really working out. Keyshawn Johnson is a solid choice. Okay? It's not going to move the needle. Michael Irvin is a solid choice, but it's not going to move the needle. Paul Pierce is average at best, but it's not going to move the needle. You need someone in there that's going to move the needle, and those personalities, they're not going anywhere. So you will have to experiment some. I think Jalen Rose would be good for Undisputed. I think Max Kellerman would be good for Undisputed. I think Nick Wright would be good for Undisputed. And a JJ Redick, someone from left field, I think he would be good for Undisputed. He's not going anywhere. Okay. And I feel like you start there and you work your way on anyone else. But they're going to have to give up some major money to get. I don't think you can get Jalen Rose for cheap. You can get Max Kellerman for cheap. If you move Nick Wright to Undisputed, you're going to have to give him a promotion. Because Nick Wright knows the real if you get him over there, you know, he doesn't like Skip Bayless. Skip Bayless doesn't like him. So you got to give him an incentive to work with Skip Bayless. I don't think you have to like one another to coexist or work with one another. I do feel like you have to respect one another. But those are shock value decisions, and they could pay off in the long run. I know for a fact it'll pay off with Nick Wright. I know for a fact it'll pay off with Jalen Rose and maybe Max Kellerman. But it's just not a lot of picks out there. Well, that's all I got for today, guys. Tell me what you think. I will see you guys on the next one. Deuces.